Hello, everyone.
Hi.
We have 3 people in the public.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and let them in. Let's rock and roll.
Yep, we're here. You can get started.
Good afternoon, everyone. The Red Bank Planning Board will now come to order the 16th day of January 2024. The time is 4 p.m. Notice this meeting is being held in accordance with the public laws of 1975, Chapter 231, and adequate notice this meeting has been provided by notice sent to the Asbury Park Press and the Two River Times, posted in the main lobby of the municipal building as well as on the municipal website. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Portman, absent. Greg Fitzgerald,
Here.
present. Thomas Walsh, absent. Christina Bonatakis,
Here.
Dan Mancuso,
Here?
Lou Demento, absent. Barbara Boas, absent. Megan Massey,
Here.
present. Wilson Beebe.
Here.
Present. Itzel Hernandez,
Here.
present. Frederick Stone,
Here.
and Brian Parnigan.
Here.
Okay.
Lawyers here too.
Great. We have a short agenda. Hi, Susan. Good to see your name on the screen. Not your face, but your name at least.
Hi, everybody.
Great to see you again.
Good to
So
see
we
all
have
of you.
a couple of administrative matters. We have the resolution of appointment of board attorney. If no one has any questions about that, do we have a motion to approve that resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
We'll do a roll call vote.
Okay. Greg Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Christina Bonatakis,
Yes.
Dan Mancuso,
Yes.
Megan Massey,
Yes.
Wilson Beebe,
Yes.
Itzel Hernandez,
Yes.
Frederick Stone,
Yes.
and Brian Parnigan. Is that a yes?
Where's Brian?
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we can hear you now.
Same for a resolution of appointment for board engineer. Is there a motion if there are no questions on that?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
do a roll call.
Greg Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Christina Bonatakis,
Yes.
Dan Mancuso,
Yes.
Megan Massey,
Yes.
Wilson Beebe,
Yes.
Itzel Hernandez,
Yes.
Frederick Stone,
Yes.
and Brian Parnigan.
Yes.
And Shawnee, you can let the record show that Lou Demento is now in attendance.
Okay.
So the meeting of the purpose of this meeting is to clarify some language in the master plan. And the general point there is that we wanted to make it clear, which we didn't achieve in the master plan, in the new master plan, that the 2009 historic preservation element is still intact. And it was less than clear. And we wanted to make sure that that was clear. So it's some minor language change in the master plan. And we have Susan Favade here from our consultant that helped us with the master plan. Susan, do you want to share a brief synopsis of your letter that you sent us for the board and the members of the public that are here?
Sure. Thanks, Dan. Really just to echo Dan's point, you know, the intent of the master plan was to basically carry forward the 2009 historic preservation element. We chose for organizational reasons to address historic preservation sort of as a subsection of land use. In retrospect, if we'd had it as its own sort of chapter, it probably might have been clearer, but the intent was to have that addressed fully in the section as a combination of kind of, you know, analysis in terms of mapping, raising of some new issues that came up during the recent master plan, as well as everything that was in the previous 2009 historic preservation element. So it was really meant to encapsulate all of that with the clear recommendation that the borough should be doing a new standalone historic preservation element. But until that occurs, that, you know, the 2009 historic preservation element, as well as all of the information that's in your current your most recent master plan, all of that comprises the historic preservation element. So it is in effect, it's the basis of your historic preservation regulations. It really has not changed since the 2009 historic preservation element. There's just some, some more recent information that's supplementing that. But hopefully the proposed language, which you all should have seen, we, encapsulated it in our memo to you in early December, was really just to add that language that this master plan incorporates by reference the existing historic preservation element, and further in the document where we have that recommendation about doing a new historic preservation element, that it's made clear, that unless and until that happens, the existing element, historic preservation element, together with the recommendations of the full master plan, do provide the statutory basis of your historic preservation ordinance. We've talked about this a bit with the Historic Commission, both the previous commission and I think as reconstituted, the attorney representing that commission. We've talked about this with her previously, and I think she felt that this language would be enough to, make clear that that's the statutory basis and resolve any question or issues. So it's really just those two minor changes, which we think make clear what we intended to make clear all along and could have done a better job at making clear.
Does anyone from the board have any questions for Susan while she's here? Any questions about the language? We'll talk about the proposed new ordinance in a second, but on the language change in the master plan, does anyone on the board have any questions? I noticed that we have some members of the public on the Zoom. If you'd like to raise your hand, if you have any questions about the language change in the master plan, please do so. We're happy to hear from you.
I see no hands.
This is such a flashback to the pandemic. So as we did then, we'll wait another minute for anyone who wants to raise their hand on Zoom so we don't miss anybody, but we'll keep that public portion open as we move on to our last item. So we've got a new proposed ordinance for the Historic Preservation Committee. So this is a referral from the mayor and council for the planning board to review, all 30-something pages of it. And our job really is to make a recommendation to the mayor and council that this is or is not in accordance with the master plan, especially now with the language change that we're going to make to that. And we will do separate votes on this, but I just wanted to see if anyone had any questions about the ordinance, the new proposed ordinance, which is NP 2024-03, as far as its consistency with the master plan, both anyone from the board or anyone from the public that has any questions.
And just to let everyone know that it repeals the entire section within the current ordinance for the historic preservation ordinance. So it takes out that section and puts in this entire 20, how many pages did you say?
I think it was like 32. 32
pages of the ordinance, and this was rewritten by
22. Sorry.
22.
It felt like 32.
This was redone by the Historic Preservation Commission. This was talked about from the prior Historic Preservation Commission, and she worked on it and made a lot of significant changes that has to do with demolition, how we treat demolition within the historic districts, on how applications are reviewed, and also in having a minor work committee that reviews like very small applications. So it's a more comprehensive ordinance on how to deal with individual sites and also in designating the future historic preservation sites. So it gives a very good sweep of making sure that everything is done according to the municipal land use law.
With that said, are there any questions from the board or any members of the public regarding the new proposed ordinance? All right, we'll take a step back and let's talk again about the amendment to the master plan with those language changes to really codify the 2009 historic element. Would anyone like to make a motion?
We have a comment.
Okay.
Mary Beth
Glaucom.
Okay, you're allowed to speak.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. Mike, do we need to
We
swear
read.
on Zoom? I don't remember.
I think we should on this. It's a public hearing on this.
So Mary
So,
Beth, do
Mary
us a
Beth,
favor
raise-
and virtually raise your hand.
virtually
Yeah.
raising my hand, okay?
You swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if this is a time or place to bring this up, but I talked to Christina earlier today. I live in the historic district. I'm a big fan of Red Bank's architecture, and thinks, we definitely need preservation. But I'm not sure I agree with the new ordinance. As some of you know, we recently lost a foundation on our house in the rain a couple weeks ago, and we were in danger of losing the whole house. So my concern is, like, if there's a fire, if there's a foundation issue like we had, and like demolition might be in order. And I don't feel comfortable sharing publicly what I make as an income if I wouldn't have been able to replace that house in a year. It definitely would have taken longer just from planning alone and coming up with the funds. So, and I feel like that's just a little bit over the top. And now I see it's completely a different issue if somebody wanted to come and tear down 4 houses on my block and develop it. It's just, I don't think the clause, and I know for a fact that another gentleman in town lost their foundation in the same storm because they came asking for our contractor, and our contractor said he won't do it again because it was so dangerous. I mean, we had a hard time getting people to secure the house, and these houses are 120 plus years old. They have unique problems, and a lot of them are at end of life. And it doesn't mean that they can't be saved or whatnot, but I just think some of the rules, there's modern materials that can be used to look like old. Like I would love to get that Tesla roof that's the solar that looks like slate, but that's probably not in my budget ever, but like it's a dream. So I think that there's some more work that can be done on this that's a little fairer for people, and you don't want to discourage work from happening either by being too onerous.
Now, I'm looking at the ordinance, and I did read through that, and I know what you're talking about. I quickly did a search of income, and it references on page 16 about including the income tax bracket.
Right.
I didn't see specific income numbers. I realized that those things are related, but is that specifically what you're talking about, Mary Beth?
Well, I was asking for a lot, like what you paid for the house, what the current price might be. If you couldn't do it, you might have to sell your house. Like, I think that's just shouldn't be within your scope.
Well,
Yeah,
listen,
if I can, oh,
go ahead, Christine.
I was just gonna say, if I can speak to a little bit, and Mary Beth, we chatted about this, and since I reread it specifically with your concern in mind, that section, because I get it, right? And it seems like really what it's intended to do is provide this commission with all of the information that they would need to make an informed decision, to be reasonable as to whether there is a go forward way to preserve this site, this structure, or not. Some of the other things, I think the last one, yes, said the income bracket, but some of the other things were an estimate from a professional about the structural integrity and what it would cost to improve, right? I think the last straw would be if you were denied for some reason by the planning board for the demolition, that you would have to, you may have to offer the home to someone who may have the means to preserve it, which looking through that lens didn't seem out of line, but I defer to any questions that the board might have as well.
I don't, the what you sold it for and what it's worth is, well, what you bought it for, excuse me, is absolutely public information. What it's worth is not an unreasonable request, in my opinion. The income tax bracket part, I don't love that. But unless Mike disagrees with me, I don't think the inclusion of that language really falls into this board's purview of whether or not this ordinance is in line with the master plan. And a language change like that would really need to be made by the mayor and council. I agree with you about the tax bracket thing. I don't really agree with that needing to be in there, but I also don't think, Mike, unless you do, that would be in our purview about talking about whether this is aligned with the master plan or not.
I agree with you. I do. The.
And I hate to defer people, Mary Beth, but
Yeah, go ahead.
you really have got to take that specific language up with the mayor and council.
Okay, will do.
Mr. Chairman, can we not, however, encourage the mayor and council to take that into consideration?
Yes, I'd be happy to do that. I mean, I made my intention clear. If the rest of the board is okay with that, we can certainly ask Shauna to include a note
Yeah.
to send back to them that, you know, either refining or removing that. I think it's a little intrusive.
Yeah, we could definitely, in the letter stating whether or not it's consistent with the master plan, add a recommendation to, look into or strike that, that section from the ordinance.
And I do appreciate the emergency work parts of the ordinance, that if,
Right.
you know, your foundation is washed out, or there's a fire, or there's a habitability issue, that there is obviously a faster way to be able to get moving to secure a property before it completely washes away. We certainly don't want that to happen in the time period it would normally take for a non-emergency situation.
We have another hand. Mary Beth, are you done with your comment?
Yes, I'm done. You can move on.
Okay, thank you. We have another comment from Linda Hill. Are we ready for her?
Sure.
Linda, you can go ahead.
Where's Linda?
Linda is.
She just came off mute. So Linda, if you would raise your
here.
hand and listen to Mike, please.
Okay, right, Linda. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
If
How
you
can we
could
help
say
you?
your name and address. I don't think we did that for Mary Beth, sorry.
It's Linda Hill and I am at 64 McLaren.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you for allowing me to comment. I have a question, and perhaps this isn't under the purview of the planning board if you are limited to whether it adheres to the master plan. But I just wanted to raise a question about the membership of the Historic Preservation Commission. I see that there are 3 classes of members. 2 of the 3 do not require the member of the commission to live in Red Bank. And I have a concern about that. That seems like a lot to me. And I understand that there is the need for expert advice or people who, you know, who professionally understand what's happening with historic preservation. But that does seem to me to be a lot. There's also no, there could be a class that requires you to live in one of the, you know, a designated historic district. So is that something that you have purview over, or no?
I can answer that one, Dan. So
Sure.
the requirements that for the membership of the Historic Preservation Commission is under the municipal land use law. And that is by law how you form a Historic Preservation Commission. So the state sets the criteria for who can qualify to sit on a Historic Preservation Commission. We can't change it. We can't go against the municipal land use law. Our law has to be in tandem with the state regulation, because that's what governs, it sets like the foundation for all ordinances throughout the entire state.
So what portion of the ordinance is set in stone by the state?
The membership, that for sure is set in state in stone, because that's how the section of the municipal land use law, I can find it for you, but it dictates what who qualifies to sit on a Historic Preservation Commission, and we can't take away from it. It has to be what's actually in the municipal land use law.
Okay, that's why I was asking what else among this proposed ordinance purview, what else is set in stone that we do not have any say over?
It's the, let's see, sections 4.490 1.7.1 through
which is which is page 2.
yeah,
Mhm.
page 2 into page 3. So that actually page 6 too. So page 2 all the way down. So that can be found in the municipal land use law, that whole section.
Okay, so up until when we get to 490-55, that entire section is beyond our ability to have any changes to, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay,
And
thank
I
you
can
very
point,
much.
yes. And if you'd like, you could email me and I'll send you the section in the municipal land use law.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from either the board or the public that has a comment or a question? Okay, is there a motion did we do this already?
No,
No, we didn't
didn't
do,
think
so
so.
are we gonna do a separate, motion for?
Yeah, I
the
think we should do,
amendment?
I think we should do the first, the amendment to the master plan, really codifying the 2009 historic preservation element and rewording that to make it more clear. Is there anyone who would like to make a motion for that amendment?
I think Barbara did, but she's not,
You're on mute,
Barbara.
Barbara, if you said something.
So moved.
okay.
Okay, Fred, is first, or
Is
are
there
we
a
taking
second?
Barbara?
Second.
Okay, Barbara second.
Okay, she.
We'll do a roll call vote on that, please.
Okay, Greg Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Christina Bonatakis,
Yes.
Dan Mancuso,
Yes.
Lou Demento. Lou,
You're on mute, Lou.
Lou,
Definitely
you have
on
to
mute.
come on live.
gotta unclick the mute button
Bottom left.
with the microphone. With the
Lou,
strike.
Lou, give us, if you're voting yes, Lou, give us 2 thumbs up like this. And let the
Okay.
record show that I see 2 thumbs up from Mr. Demento.
Okay, Barbara Boas,
Yes.
Megan Massey,
Yes.
Wilson Bibi,
Yes.
Itzel Hernandez,
Yes.
Frederick Stone,
Yes.
and Brian Parnigan.
Yes.
Okay,
Great. And lastly, we have the ordinance referral. And what we're essentially doing is affirming to the mayor and council that this ordinance is in accordance with the master plan, supports the master plan, with the slight suggestion that we made for Shauna
okay.
to provide the mayor and council. I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
First, that was Wilson for second?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Greg Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Christina Bonatakis,
Yes.
Dan Mancuso,
Yes.
Lou Demento,
Yes.
yay.
Great.
Barbara
Well done,
Boas?
Lou.
Yes.
Megan Massey,
Yes.
Wilson Bibi,
Yes.
Itzel Hernandez,
Yes.
Frederick Stone,
Yes.
Brian Parnigan.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey,
That is-
everyone. We will see everyone on February 5th. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Good afternoon, everyone. Just if you're inside, stay inside. It's gonna get slippery tonight. Take care.
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
you.
Thanks for
Thank you so
coming, everyone
much.
from the
Thanks,
public, everyone
all.
from the board. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.